Hiya folks, it's Kikoskia here, and welcome back to Let's Replay Icewind Dale the Enhanced Edition. And when last we left off, we've made it to Lonelywood, and we're examining this place. We have discovered that the girl at the well is in fact lying and she doesn't have a brother. And there is also this guy here that we spoke to, who gave us a story about encountering the King of the Barbarians. Now it's time to speak to some other people, including Hobart Stubbletoes here. Ah, there you are. I was beginning to wonder if I had the right place. Hail, well met, and all that rubbish. The name's Stubbletoes, Hobart Stubbletoes, and unless I'm mistaken, you must be the legendary heroes of Icewind Dale, yes? Perhaps. Perhaps. Perhaps? I don't have time for perhaps. Either you are or you aren't. What's it going to be? Well, you must have me confused with someone else then. Oh really? So you aren't the famed defenders of Kuldahar, the sole survivors of the doomed East Haven expedition? Must be getting senile in my old age. You sure look like heroes to me. Sorry, old fellow. Farewell. Have it your way, but if you do happen upon any real heroes, let me know. I have a task that needs doing, and if you thick-witted folk aren't up for it, I'll have to find some who are. Farewell then. So I think this guy is for some side content. I mean, this technically is side content. He is for, like, super side content. And we don't want to do that right now.
Right then.
At least I think that's who he is. Oh, what's this? Why, look here, Master Kieran. It seems that Lady Tamora's blessed your coffers this season after all. This hardy band of brave-looking souls will surely keep your kegs flowing well into the night. We haven't come for a drink. We're on an urgent quest to prevent a war with the barbarians in these parts. A stalwart troop of courageous adventurers on a quest for honour and glory. I was once like you, full of fire and spirit. These days I'm content to be simply full of drink. You speak rather well for a man who admits to being a drunkard. Who are you? My name's Murdoch of Orkney, wandering bard and failure extraordinaire. Welcome to Lonelywood. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I empathise with this person. Failure? You don't seem to have a very high opinion of yourself. Oh, on the contrary, I acknowledge the fact that I've been highly successful at failing at whatever task is set before me. It's the reason why I've wound up here, so far from Orkney. Perhaps you might succeed in providing us with a bit of information? As you wish. What is it you wish to know? Won't you tell me about the barbarians rumoured to be threatening the Dale? 'Tis no rumour. There have been numerous reports of a huge army of tribesmen moving southward into the Dale, I assure you. The threat the barbarians pose to Lonelywood and the rest of the towns is very real. Why would the barbarians raise an army against the 10 towns? The barbarians have long been at odds with the 10 towns, since the first settlers arrived at Medale. The events of late are simply a prelude to another bloody chapter in the history of Icewind Dale. Well, things seem quiet around here. Shouldn't the town be preparing for an attack? If the barbarians set their gaze upon this town, I fear there's little we could do to stop them. When and if the attack comes, we'll fight to the end. However, with the mere handful of swords we can muster, it'll be like attempting to halt an avalanche with a whisper. What about the other towns? Surely they'd send aid. Lonelywood is far too remote and insignificant a community to warrant the protection of the larger towns. No, if war comes, they'll scurry to the safety of their own walls, and watch the barbarians burn Lonelywood to the ground. We've heard the barbarians have a camp nearby. Do you know where it is? I can't say but I do. However, you see that rugged dwarven gentleman at that table over there? I believe he might be able to point you in the right direction. And he did. Let's ask you about Lonelywood. There isn't much to tell, really. Lonelywood is the northernmost of the 10 towns. It's also one of the smallest settlements in the Dale. The folk that live here are mostly common tradesmen seeking to earn a living away from the fierce competition between the larger towns. Is there any place to buy equipment and weapons? Oh, there are no blacksmiths in town, but Emmerich may be able to furnish you with weapons and equipment. He's a bowyer by trade. His cabin is in the southeastern corner of town. Yeah, we spoke with that person. Let's talk about you. My name's Murdoch. I've never heard of Orkney. How far away is it? I'm not surprised you haven't heard of it. Orkney is a small kingdom that clings to the windy foothills of the spine of the World Mountains. It lies upon the trade route just beyond the pass, several days' journey to the south. Although for me, Orkney is much, much further away than you could possibly imagine. Well, what do you mean? I mean that I'm destined to never again set foot within the borders of my homeland. I'm dead to Orkney. Why, were you banished or something? Indeed, although it is a banishment imposed by my own actions, or inactions rather. Alas, it's a sad tale, one I do not wish to burden you with. We don't mind. Please tell us your tale. I'm flattered by your request, but I'm afraid there is no art left in me. The best I can manage these days are a few uninspired words accompanied by sour notes plucked from broken heartstrings. Stop being so dramatic, Murdo. Your silver tongue may be a bit tarnished from all the wine, but we still manage to squeeze a few good performances out of you from time to time. Well said, my friend. Though I would have to say that those few good performances were inspired by the excess of drink rather than the absence of it. Can I buy you a drink in exchange for a tale? Very well. If you supply the coin, I shall spin a tale, though I cannot promise you will get your money's worth. Here's 10 gold. That should fetch you enough wine for a star performance. I do not deserve such generous patronage, good sir. However, since this coin will undoubtedly find its way into the pockets of my good friend Kieran here, I shall accept your offer in the spirit of improved commerce. Very well. If it is a tale you desire, then a tale you shall have. Now put yourselves at ease, my friends, for the story I am to tell you is a true account, and like all truths, should be received with the utmost attention to detail. Here we go, folks. I hope you're sitting comfortably. Go on, we're listening. There once was a time many years ago when my heart like a smith's forge was aglow with the brightly burning flames of passion. I was a bard, and, as was the fashion, I travelled the land, stopping each night to perform for kind souls who would invite a wandering minstrel in for a meal. Each ballad I sang did always appeal to both nobility and a commoner, for I did sing of virtue and honour, of fortune, glory, and other such things that strike the fancies of peasants and kings. Far and wide, throughout the realms I did roam. Song was my life, and the road was my home, until one day, as I happened by chance to be entertaining with song and dance a crowd of children from a nearby town, when along came a servant of the crown. A loyal steward of Orkney was he, and in his hands he bore a royal decree, from which he read with a baritone voice, hear ye, let the kingdom rejoice. The Princess of Orkney shall soon be wed, for the King's magistrate, Lord Hugh the Red, His Majesty does graciously extend an invitation for all to attend tonight's festivities at the castle, to honour his most worthy vassal. For the rest of his words I did not wait. Like an arrow I shot straight for the gate of the King's castle, where I did present my skills as a bard for the night's event. The King was kind, I'm pleased to report, for he welcomed me into his court, and treated me as an honoured guest. In return, I did promise him my best, and even offered to compose a tune so lovely it would make his subjects swoon. Indeed, that night I did keep my word, and sang such a ballad that none had heard. It was a rousing tale of blood and gold, of heroes, villains, and kingdoms of old. But as I performed, my eyes did meet the gaze of an angel, lovely and sweet. 'Twas the young princess that captured my heart, and for her I sang with all my art, pouring my soul out with each ringing note, until no more sound would come from my throat. And when at last my performance did end, the king himself was the first to commend such a fine display of lyrical skill. He offered gold as a sign of goodwill. He further insisted that I stay as an honoured guest until the day his beloved daughter was to be wed to his chief magistrate, Lord Hugh the Red. How strong my love for the princess would grow, for each passing day was spent at her side, and often upon horseback we did ride. This is not going to end well. Out of the forest near Castle Ork, where I would play music and she would talk of her betrothal to Lord Hugh the Red, and how she wished she were free instead, to follow her heart and marry for love. Oh, how I prayed to the heavens above for the chance to make the princess my own, but Timora's dice had already been thrown. As I pined in vain, the nights quickly passed, and the day of the wedding came at last. But before the groom could offer his ring, the princess bride declared to the king that she loved another, and could not bear to marry the magistrate, and forswear her one true love. At which point did she turn, and spoke the words for which my heart did yearn. I love thee, Murdoch, and were it my say, I would gladly marry you on this day. Upon hearing the words, the groom went pale. He turned to the king and started to rail on about how law and tradition he went, begging his majesty not to consent, for the princess was of the noble line, and could not be wed to some low-born swine. The king was torn, for his daughter was dear, but the laws of the kingdom were quite clear. So in silence he stood, shaking his head, until at last it was Lord Hugh the Red who proposed a solution, nay, a scheme, which at that moment in time it did seem. To a fair and noble compromise, for which I thought him to be very wise, he pointed out that it was the king's right by law to bestow a title of knight upon any man who succeeds in a quest. In addition, he did further suggest that because I was not of noble birth, there was but one way to prove my worth. Journey to the north, where the Icewind blows. There you must find the fabled glacier rose. The king did heed his magistrate's advice, and bade me quest for this rose made of ice, and decreed to all that, should I succeed, the hand of the princess he would cede. So, with hope in my heart, I sallied forth, and began my journey through the frozen north. For 3 years I did search, both high and low, across seas of ice and mountains of snow. I visited all 10 towns of Icewind Dale, but alas it seemed I was destined to fail. After 4 long years I gave up my search, and traded my quest for this lonely perch. For it was here, upon this very stool, that I realised I'd been played for a fool. For surely as the ice wind blows, there's no such thing as a glacier rose. A most excellent tale. Farewell, Murdoch. Huh. I should keep an eye out for that, indeed. Maybe we'll find one.
Not a problem.
Hello, you. Well met, strangers. Welcome to the Whistling Gallows Inn. I'm Kieran Nye, proprietor of this fine establishment. How may I be of service? I could ask you a few questions. Certainly. What is it you wish to know? Tell us about the barbarians threatening the Dale. I know very little about the threat, save that I believe it's very real. A dolorous pall now hangs over the residents of this town, bewitching them with unease. We've heard the barbarians have a camp nearby. Do you know where it is? No, but I did overhear the dwarven fellow talking about this encounter with a barbarian scouting party. Perhaps he may know the location of their camp. You might want to ask him yourself. Fair enough. Let's ask about the Whistling Gallows. Whistling Gallows, eh? Strange name for an inn. Ah, it is strange, yet well deserved. You see, the original owner of this inn was a less than reputable man who... Man? Skeld was no man, he was a brutal savage, a half-ogre. He took pleasure in beating unruly patrons within an inch of their lives. Those who had the misfortune of truly upsetting the brute found themselves dancing at the end of a rope. Yes, 'tis said that he was fond of using a dead tree out front as a sort of impromptu gallows. Back then, the inn was known as Skeld's Place. However, it didn't take long for word of Skeld's cruelty to spread. Indeed, many a traveller that lodged here at the inn spent a sleepless night lying in bed, listening to the eerie sound of the cold winter wind as it whistled through the frozen corpses dangling from the tree outside. However, that unfortunate business is all in the past. Skeld is dead and buried, and now I'm the proprietor of this inn. The only legacy that remains is Skeld's brief yet brutal tenure is the establishment's name, the Whistling Gallows Inn. Well, can we talk about a drink? Ah, you have booze! We actually don't want any booze. And that's all the people that are here. Let's see if we can find some stuff.
Yes, I gotcha.
Your cup is not as empty as your soul. I just gave you 10 gold. That's a lot of gold. We have a cold meat storage here. We also have nothing here. We have this room. Ooh. There's also apparently something in there. How am I going to get that? Oh, there's a door. Oh, okay, that makes sense. There's a door. I'm like, how do I get that? Oh, yeah, door. Various reagents and bits of arcane lore clutter this table. And there's that over there. Well, first things first, let's unlock this. Ooh, a robe. And anything else? The top of a small pedestal rests a solid globe of crystal. A strange bluish glow radiates from the globe. Ah, it's an orb. And here is a spell of 7 eyes. Huh, what is this? It is an unidentified mage robe. It is a robe of the neutral archmage. Huh, well, you're good, so that's completely useless to us. As for the scroll, it is a 7th level abjuration. Yeah, we're not going to be doing anything with that anytime soon. Also, I'm going to put these gems away, and we are going to head upstairs.
Watch me go.
Maybe we'll find someone up there we can talk to. Hopefully. I had a feeling that Lonelywood would be a place that we would be exploring a lot.
I gotcha.
Alright, what do we have here? Anything? An Nope. Anything in here? Yes! The floorboards are hiding something. Ah. Treasures for those who dare to look. Ooh, a rogue stone. Those are valuable. But more valuable than that are translocation arrows. They're good. Really like translocation arrows.
Need me?
They could be handy. Let's keep looking around. We have nothing here. Like all the various pictures on the wall. I wonder if any of them are things that I've seen in the game before, little references to things. Ooh, a thing I can look at. Anything nice in here? No! Completely empty. Fair enough. In here we have a very small little dresser. Drawer here. It's not locked. It's got a gold coin in it. We're rich beyond our wildest dreams, folks. We are not rich beyond our wildest dreams, not even slightly. Okay, is this locked or trapped? It might be. Let's find out. The answer is it's not trapped. It's locked, though. It's another mage robe. We got two of those now. And in here we have another wardrobe. It's locked. And in here is a oil of speed. Ooh, nice. That's quite nice. Okay, this is a traveler's robe. It's not that special, really. It's just +1 AC versus missiles and +1 save versus breath weapons. It's not great. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Put it in here. Sell it at some point. Right.
Done.
Let's head
Not a
down.
problem.
We have a little bit more that we can do. Let's explore a tiny bit more around. Fill in the rest of the map if nothing else. This is probably where... Yeah, this is probably where Haley's father lives. We should actually go and speak to Haley. Let's go do that. And let's confront her about her brother, shall we? And be like, hey, you know your brother doesn't exist. And I'll be like, no, it totally does. And it's like, nope, doesn't. And there's somebody down there going, help me. I actually do exist. Nobody likes me. Did you find father? No, I spoke to your mother, and she told me you had no brother, Haley, and that you best go home to your father. I won't go! I won't make his stupid barrels all day, 'cause I won't do it! I hate it, and I hate him! I think a young girl could find more amusement in playing Pitch Pebble or Old Man's Crutch than telling tales to strangers. Those games are for babies, and besides, there's no one here to play with except Purvis, and he gets mad when you pitch pebbles at him. There's no other children in town. There's just me. Father's always in the shop making his stupid barrels, and Mother's always drinking in the inn. There's nothing to do in this stupid town. So what do you do all day? Surely you don't wander this town alone. Sometimes in the forest too, but not much. Mostly in town. By the well sometimes, or Purvis's shack, or I climb up in the tree by the inn. There's a really good view up there. A good view? Of what? People in town, other people in the inn, and things. Things I can't tell you about. Secrets. Secrets? Like what? Secrets. If I told you, it wouldn't be a secret. If you tell me, I'll give you a shiny gold piece. Let's see it first. Then I'll tell you. Maybe. Here you go. 1 gold, 1 secret. Well, you can't tell anybody, but you know that old bag of bones Kieran, the one who bought the inn? Yes, I know him. Well, do you know why he bought the inn? But you don't. No, why did he buy the inn? 'Cause he has a magic mirror. It's true. I saw him step right through it. Well, I mean, he opens it first, but it's like he's walking right through it. I believe you. I know of this door already. Thanks for telling me, though, Haley. Just don't tell him I told you, or else he'll put me in the mirror. You say you have a good view of people in town. Like who? Purvis for one, mostly because I wait for him to come out of his shack so I can hit him with briar cones. Sometimes he sits in his shack cross-legged for hours, all still as a rock, and I have to throw stones at his door for a long time before he gets up. Who's Purvis? Purvis the gravedigger. He hasn't said much since he got here, but Father says he buries dead people. When I climb the trees around here, I get a good view inside his house and others. Since he got here? How long's Purvis been here? Couple of weeks, I think. Father says Purvis must be dumb as rocks to think he can make a living out of burying people here in Lonelywood. Nobody's died here in years. I see. Other than Purvis, what other things do you see up in the trees? Well, those three mean half-head brothers, I used to see them going and setting traps in the wood, even though Emmerich told them not to. They're going to get in big trouble when Emmerich finds out. Do you know anything about the barbarians? Mother wants to leave because of them, but she always wants to leave. She says the barbarians are going to burn down Lonelywood. And what does Father say? Father keeps telling her to be quiet because I'm out here, but Mother doesn't care. I think Father doesn't want me to be scared, but I have ears, and I'm not dumb. Well, farewell, Haley. I'm going to stay by this well, and I'm going to tell people that there's my brother down there because I'm bored. Soon as Purvis comes out of his shack, I'm going to hit him with stones. Oh dear. And so when we come back, folks, we're going to explore around the rest of Lonelywood and see what we can find and who we can find. Maybe we'll talk to Purvis. And maybe we'll warn him about the stones. He probably already knows about the stones. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then.
Right then.
Later.